Hello and welcome to 10-Minute Tabletop. I'm Devin.
And I'm Darren.
And here are the 3 biggest stories of tabletop gaming from the past week in 10 minutes or less, so you can get back to playing the game. D&D's 50th anniversary is coming up soon, and WizKids is already releasing their collector's items.
Yes, so WizKids is the premier maker of Dungeons & Dragons miniatures. So if you play 5e in person regularly, like you or a friend has probably brought out WizKids minis for your big in-person battles, but they also have premium collectibles. And for the 50th anniversary for D&D, they made a red dragon wormling statue. So you can celebrate D&D's big birthday with your own 2.5-foot tall baby dragon. So the detail on it is pretty impressive, which, could justify the $649.99 price tag. But, it would certainly make a good door guardian if you got the space.
I know. And WizKids is no stranger to these really impressive sculpts, right? They do the dragon heads that you can mount on the wall. They have the beholder statue, the life-staining Drist.
Yeah, and they're all and this is pretty par for the course for figurines. Like if you ever go to any convention, you're going to see figurines anywhere from the late hundreds to the thousands of dollar range. So,
but why is this important? It's because it's setting the stage for what we're going to see in 2024 for the 50th anniversary of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and which is funny because it's the 50th anniversary is actually not until next year. Technically, we're on the 49th anniversary, so this is probably the first of many products they're going to be rolling out across the year to celebrate this big anniversary. But it was their 45th anniversary, right? They did something similar.
Yeah. Well, I mean, mind you, it's a pre-order, right?
Yeah.
So, it'll start shipping end of the year, beginning of next year.
Yeah. And for their 45th anniversary, they did
$300 dice set with lab-grown sapphires.
Lab-grown sapphires. So this isn't the first time they've brought something out. Did an interesting collab with a hefty price tag. I mean, us nerds, we can't help it. We love our little collectibles. We love our things. I mean, I was just telling you how my partner and I, we went to Comic-Con and we bought this Gandalf statue where it's Gandalf on the eagle going to rescue the hobbits in the lava. Yeah. And I tell you, it's way more than a few red wormling statues. So, it's all about the actual, the timing of it all, the anniversary of it all. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll see a lot more of these kind of collectible items with a big old luxury price tag.
Positive. If you have been waiting around to play Baldurs Gate because you haven't started yet, maybe it's because you're on a Mac. Well, that's no longer a problem as of September 21st.
Yes, so Larian Studios has already announced its next big patch for Baldurs Gate 3. The game is a huge hit and is proven to have staying power thanks to both the memes and Larian's commitment to answering player feedback, which I love. And, the 2 previous updates have addressed several bugs, as well as some unsatisfying character endings. And patch 3 is already on the way. And it's set for September 21st, and while the details of what the patch will cover weren't given, one major thing was announced is that Baldurs Gate 3 will have Mac support with patch 3. Yay!
Right now, if you have a Mac and you're playing it, you have early access. You got Act 1 and 2, and you have limited subclasses, you have limited races, etc. to play through, but now you have everything. But Xbox will still have to wait.
Yeah, sorry guys. There's a few more barriers to entry for that one, but I mean, Baldurs Gate 3 is just ubiquitous. It's taking over. We actually...
Over 50 critics have given it a perfect score.
Yeah, people love it. We have multiple friends who have bought consoles to play Baldur's Gate 3.
If you also look at the search trends on Google, it's similar to that of what Stranger Things has done for Dungeons and Dragons as far as drumming up interest. We're seeing that same thing with Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are probably coming to D&D for the first time right before its 50th year anniversary.
Yeah.
Exploring this kind of hobby in this lore and all this world, to adventure in. And we might see this translate into more players in the hobby.
Yeah. I mean, I think it was one of the smarter collaborations because I don't know about you guys, but if you have a lot of gamer friends, I have a bunch of gamer friends who don't play D&D who are obsessed with Baldur's Gate because you can't get away from it. It's too good. The quality, the attention to detail, the love from Larian Studios into the game, you can just feel it. So I think it's done wonders for the D&D brand.
And our last bit of news, Roll20 has acquired Dungeon Scrawl. Now, Roll20 is a virtual tabletop tool used to play games remotely with friends. They've acquired Dungeon Scrawl, which is a web-based tool that allows you to quickly and easily create maps with a click of the mouse.
Yeah, and like real time. So you can kind of like go through as you're playing the game, right? Like if you're, which is like, you're a GM, right? Like, so if you're playing a game, like one of the biggest things that like is a hindrance in prep is they're like, oh man, I had a long day. I forgot to make the dungeon. But like with Dungeon Scrawl, you can like be with your friends and be like, they're like, oh, I walked down that hallway. You're like, yeah, there's a hallway here.
Yeah, you can literally just like click, drag, there's the hallway, and then there's 2 other directions, and you can make those, and you can almost create your own kind of fog of war by just drawing it as it comes. Which, I mean, when I was playing D&D when I was young, I just used a giant whiteboard that I had on the table, and I just drew it out. That's exactly the same kind of thing, except it is easier than a whiteboard because it's just point and click.
And
It's not available yet, but it's going to be happening soon. Why is this interesting? It's because it's the second acquisition we've seen this year from Roll20.
Yeah, and a smart acquisition as well, right? Like, what was the other company they acquired?
One Bookshelf, which was, it's a marketplace for creators. One Bookshelf is DM's Guild, Drive-Thru RPG, a number of others. This is where, like, you create something, you want to sell it to a community, you can, and it, ships the PDF, the PNGs, whatever you're selling, whether it be tokens, adventures, etc.
Right. Yeah, and it's just like another smart acquisition from Roll20, and like we always talking about kind of like lowering the barrier entry, ease of use, like functionality, like all of these things are super important when you're getting people into tabletop RPGs, and like becoming the virtual tabletop that is the easiest use. It is very smart to try to become the go-to tool for people to use, especially when they're just getting into it, and that they can play online with anyone who comes along. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is important because Roll20 is trying to remain competitive. I mean, we know that Wizard of the Coast will be releasing their new VTT sometime next year for the 50th anniversary. And so Roll20 is trying to position themselves in a place where they have tons to offer. And they are offering something different than what Wizard of the Coast is going to be offering, which is like this Unreal Engine, this 3D virtual tabletop, make it look very much like Baldurs Gate 3. Rather, Roll20 is trying to offer like the easiest way to play. And so I'm really interested to see how it plays out, but I'm also interested like, hey, is this all that Roll20 is acquiring, or is there more to come?
It sounds like they're like loading up their arsenal, right? And when you're talking about like the Baldurs Gate 3 versus like the easiest route, like both have like very real places in the market. So I think that's a very smart way to stay competitive.
Hey, that's all the news we have today. Thank you for joining us. If you want to support the show, head over to our Patreon at patreon.com/totalpartychill. And we'll see you next week.
Bye.